Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Tiffany Robinson here, aka Coach Tiff for Beyond RCM, Revenue Cycle Management. And I wanted to do this video today because it's been a couple of weeks since I've been able to sit down and put down some new content, but I wanted to do a check-in. So earlier this year, I made the announcement that I decided to go back to school to pursue my master's in healthcare law. And in that particular announcement, I had not yet started my program. So I just officially completed my first course. It was a persuasive communications course, and I wanted to just share some feedback on what it's like being 44 and returning back to school. Now, the reason I felt it was important to get on here today, I'm actually filming this on the weekend. Very relaxed, gonna go out and try to enjoy this sunshine while it lasts here in New York State. But the reason I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about what it's been like returning to school is because over the years of having this channel, I've had numerous individuals reach out to me expressing their desire to want to go back to school, to learn disciplines such as medical billing, medical coding, auditing, etc. But they felt as though they were too old. So I would get messages or comments somewhere along the lines of, I really want to go back to school to learn medical billing, but I feel like because I am 40-something years old, 50-something years old, 30-something years old, that I'm too old to go back to school. And my response every time I get one of those messages is, you're never too old to go back to school. Life is all about learning, and there's nothing wrong with being what I proudly call myself, which is a lifelong learner. So I don't just say I'm a lifelong learner. I don't just encourage people and tell them, hey, you're not too old to go back to school. I'm actually putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm going back to school at 44 to pursue my master's. And so a couple of things though. When I made the decision to go back to school, unlike when I completed my previous degrees and even some of my certifications, I really did not want to feel as though I had to rush the process. I said to myself, if you are going to go back to school, you want to enjoy the process. You don't want to feel like you're running from one course to the next and you're just rushing to the finish line. It was very important for me, if I made the decision to go back to school, that I be able to take my time and feel as though I am absorbing the information in a meaningful way. And keeping this in mind, I made the decision early on that, returning to school, yes, but I will be going to school part-time. I'm not going to try to take on multiple classes at once. I do have a full-time job as a vice president of revenue cycle management. Outside of my work, I'm a professional coach and mentor and digital creator. So trying to go to school full-time was just going to be an exercise in futility. So I knew going into this that part-time was the way to go. So keeping that in mind, I ended up going with a school where I felt that the curriculum was aligned with what I wanted to learn as it relates to healthcare law, and that the cadence of the courses was going to work for me. So I decided to go to Nova Southern University. So that's where I'm currently completing my master's. So my first course, professional communications, I went into this course thinking, well, I communicate professionally every day. This is not going to be hard. I'm going to knock this out. I went in very confident. I'm a very confident and sometimes overly confident person by nature. So I went in just having very high expectations of myself, feeling as though I communicate professionally in my daily life, and this was not going to be extremely difficult. Coming out of this course 10 weeks later, I could tell you that while there were certain elements of the course that felt like second nature to me, there were definitely some areas where I was like, whoa, girl, you really needed to learn this so that you could look at this differently. I'm going to point out one specific area that was a real wake-up call. So part of our final presentation was we had to do a persuasive argument to our classmates. So we had to pick a topic over several weeks, and we were building up on that topic, building up on our argument, because again, it is a healthcare law. So we're learning how to formulate arguments and points of view to persuade other individuals. So the culmination of this course was that we had to give a presentation amongst our classmates on our persuasive topic that we had been writing and talking about over the past couple of weeks. And the caveat of this presentation was that you had to be able to show your presentation, because we're all virtual, and deliver your persuasive argument within 3 minutes. So did I practice multiple times before having to do this presentation? No, because overconfident Coach Tiff was like, I persuasively communicate every day. I got this. I just walking like, I got this. I got my presentation together. That was obviously not very hard because I prepare presentations all the time. So I knew what my topic of discussion was going to be. I knew the angle that I was going to take for the presentation. And our professor kept saying to us, because she's an attorney and she works with clients all the time, and she says, I always coach our clients before they get on the stand or before, they have a deposition, and I work with them, and I'm, you guys need to practice. Make sure you take the time to practice, because you can be overly confident, and then on that given day, things don't work out the way that they should. But in my mind and Tiffany's mind and Coach Tiff's overconfident mind, like, Professor, I got this. So presentation day comes, and my classmates are giving their presentations. Some people are clearly more nervous than others. Some people, you could really tell that they took the time to practice. I knew in the back of my mind that I do have a tendency to be long-winded. I could be a little bit of an over-explainer. Did you think that because I knew that about myself, I took the time to practice, multiple times with a stopwatch? No, I didn't. So Tiffany gets up there to give her presentation. My slides are mwah. I look at my other classmates. Their slides were good, but my slides were mwah. And I'm going through my presentation, and I run out of time. I'm 2 slides away from finishing my presentation, and the professor says, "You're out of time." How did I feel in that moment? As someone who can be a little bit of an overachiever, I kind of felt like I could have kicked myself. I was, of course, very hard on myself after the presentation. I'm like, how could you run out of time? How could you, because you over-explained on a couple of slides and it slowed you down. The post-mortem of that presentation was that I had to really sit down with myself and say, okay, what could we have done differently? And obviously the glaring thing that we could have done differently is we could have taken the time to practice more, to time ourselves. I could have practiced with my husband. I could have made the time to practice more consistently to make sure that my presentation fell within the 3-minute time frame that I had to present. So, I still passed the class. Thankfully, thank God, still passed the class. Didn't fail on account of not being able to finish my presentation. Thankfully, all of the other work that I did for the class helped solidify that A. Proud of that A. I'm gonna pop that A right there. I'm gonna take a moment to just bask in this 4.0 GPA. Let's see how long it lasts. But the biggest lesson that I took away from going back to school and doing my first course is I have to really relearn how to be a student. In a professional space, when you are giving a presentation, especially as a leader, yes, you have meetings that are within a certain time frame, but you usually don't have a tight window to really get your point across. You have the flexibility to kind of go a little bit over or go a little bit shorter. And I think I took for granted the fact that although I may communicate in a professional space on a daily basis, although I may communicate even here, on the YouTube channel, on different social media platforms, just because I communicate on a regular basis doesn't mean that I was prepared to communicate in this particular setting as a student. So the biggest lesson that I took away from this first course is that I am very much relearning how to be a student again. And it was a very necessary and humbling experience, because I definitely know that the next time I have to present as a student, I am not going to go in it from my professional lens, but I will definitely take a little bit more time to prepare and make sure that for the space that I am in, that I am presenting and discussing in a way that is appropriate for that space. And that is me as a student presenting to my professor and my peers. But you know, you live and you learn. So I am about to start my second course on Monday. This course is going to be, it's going to be very interesting. The name of the course is Legal Foundations. So that should be pretty exciting. And, you know, let's see what lessons, let's see if I'm able to take those lessons from my persuasive communications course and apply them to this new course and pass the test. And while we're at it, let's see what new lessons we learn along the way. And I just want to say, if you are someone watching this video right now and you are contemplating going back to learn something new, to start a new career, I want to encourage you that you're never too old to go back and open your mind and expose yourself to something new. And I hope that this video today inspires you to let you know. I am a medical professional with going on 28 years of experience working in the healthcare industry, and I am still learning new things each day, and it's exciting. And I don't feel like, oh, because I'm too old or I'm older, I can't keep up with my peers. I find it fascinating to go to school with people who are younger than me and people who are my age and people who are older than me. And I just want to let you know that if you're someone contemplating going back and furthering your education or learning something new, do not be afraid. Take the plunge. The water is fine over here, and we're having a good time and learning in the process. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys really soon with some new and informative healthcare related topics. We're about to jump into a season where we're going to be tackling artificial intelligence and how it is impacting the healthcare industry. I have lots of thoughts and things that I want to share about that, and things that we as medical professionals should be paying attention to. So be sure to tune in to our channel to get that information. Until next time, I am going to go and sign off and enjoy this beautiful sunny day in New York, and I will see you guys in the next RCM Roundup. Peace out.